Welcome to the premiere of HDcrazyicons, where we shine the light on the extraordinary entrepreneurs, small business owners, and those who carve a legacy from ambition. I'm your host, Izzy Whitmore, and today we're headed into the heart of hustle, right inside of your local Walmart. There's a shop that's more than just scissors and clippers. It's a dream manifested. Welcome to Game 7 Barbershop.
Ready? You ready? I don't pray to all weeds to the creator. I think it's worth more. No other things but for.
Alright, again, it's the Boom Boss, Mr. Next Time, this time, so you technician, Dr. R, Mr. Rob Blake. So this is the station right here. So right here, what we have, this is the barber side. Every barber needs a barber side. It's one thing about barbering. For me, I walk into the barber shop and I don't see barber side on this station, I probably not gonna get my hair cut. If they don't have a cape to put around me, I probably won't get a haircut. Now I really respect for a barber to have on an apron, a jacket of some sort. If they don't have that, I might not get a haircut. So now we have compressors. We have my gel for razor shaving. Straight hair client gel. This is only one specific gel, and it's mini. You get the strong hold. Some of them are less holding. Clipper side. We need clipper side. So if we don't got clipper side on the station, I'm probably gonna get my hair cut. If I don't see them spraying, a client gets up, I don't see none of this, I'm not getting my hair cut. And I recommend you not to get your hair cut from a barber who's not doing these things. So we got the hair sheen. You don't need no hair sheen. Though I like hair sheen. I like that on my head. You know what I'm saying? But that's not needed. But there's some things that are needed. So these are some of my cards I use to cut out. Right here. Boom, book your appointment if you like, or you could just walk in and see the roster. I still keep a clock. I went to a hand massage. Boom. This is one of the most beautiful apparatuses, and the results that I get from this, it compelled me to call Fabulous Pro, which is underneath Con Air. So I'll try to get these on wholesale, but they won't answer my call yet. But I'm still at it. The shaver. This right here was brought to me by a guy who was originally from New York, from he's in the hood right here, Appleby Diamond Cuts. It was 2106 when it was happening, and he was like, "Bro, you don't got a shaver?" I like, "Man, what is a shaver?" So he told me, at that time I had the wall shaver. This right here is the Fabulous shaver. But he told me about that, I was like, boom, I gotta get it. So we got oils. We got oils, we got the top powder, which I'm still skeptical about this. They got so much going on about powders. Johnson & Johnson, shit causing cancer. Boom, you know, so we got our gauze, we got our comb, clipper. And this right here, this utensil right here, every barber needs it. This is a detangling comb. So to just go in there and start raking the head of a child or an adult, it's not needed. Take the proper steps. Well, we might charge more for combing the hair, especially nowadays, but they're getting the sponge. Like a lot of people got the sponge. So you have a barber, or you have a client who comes in, they want to get the hair cut. Don't cut it off the top and sponge it. Now when they want that hair comb, that's a job, so it's a toil. So if you charge more for that, then respect. And then two, though, it's the methodology that you use to get to the pliability. You need some detangler. I don't have my detangler right here, but even with the sheen, this helps detangle the hair, make it more pliable. After they've been sponged so much time. So using the detangler comb, there's a couple of them. Using these, and then going to your pick. Then going to your pick. It's like the proper way to do this thing, and even offering a shampoo. And now I have products. I became the distributor of Chica, Gabalan, Isioma, and Psychasia products, all organic. So they're looking at me to cover the whole South Carolina district with whatever I got going on. So I took it as a challenge because I needed that uncomfortability, and I'm looking to live up and go and further surpass whatever they thought I was going to do. I'm looking to go further than that. But that's what it is right here, Mr. Izzy. You know what I'm saying? The Boom Boss. I got music too. You can go to Mr. Raw, More Than Music album. You know what I'm saying? It's a good collection of songs. It's 7. It's an EP. It's really some good songs. I'm gonna have another project coming out soon. I got some videos coming. And yo, I'm just looking to make the best of life while I'm here, man. You know what I'm saying? We don't here for a vapor. You know what I mean? So it's love. It's love, son.
My problem is why he got that weird represent.
Shit, it's the Bombastic, Mr. McFabulous, Tom Sawyer, technician, Dr. R, Mr. Rob Blaze. It's more than music, it's more than barbering service. But it's smoothness that you can do to and service that you can use too. So I started out this barbering thing like 2003 after I got kicked out of the Navy for several reasons. I could go into debt about that maybe a little bit later, but just to make it smooth and precise. So I came out of the Navy 2003. My godfather, he had a settlement. Unfortunately, his wife and daughter died in a car accident, and he was struggling for years until that settlement came through. So the settlement came through, and I was happening to come home from the Navy, and he was like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "I'll be a barber." So that's when I first picked up the tools to begin the career of which I've had for now 21 years. So growing up in Walterboro, South Carolina, you know what I'm saying, on the block that I grew up on, it was Hazelside, called Green Park, and we had some barbers that was cutting outside of their home. Inside of their home. So, inside of their home. Yeah. So we had Buddha. Buddha was down the street. You know what I'm saying? So he was doing cuts like $5, $6. And we would go down there. But his persona, the ambiance that he gave off, I just loved it. You know what I'm saying? So that was like one of my first inspirations. And then there's a barber that we call Dwayne George. That's really his name, aka Primetime. So when I got to high school, Primetime was cutting out of his home, and shit, he had just as much as clients as a barbershop would have, coming in and out of his home. So that right there was inspiring. Like, yo, he's doing this shit like on the leisure level, but still, I know that it's a business. So with me seeing Buddha and Primetime, and then in between that, at Hardest Barbershop, which is still located in Walterboro right now, somewhere off of Main Street. But they had Kenneth Farmer, which is one of our distant cousins. Now he used to go to the barbershop. He in the barbershop cutting, and the way he used to dress and his whole style, that did spark something in me too. Though my mom, they didn't want to pay no more than $5 for a haircut. So his haircuts was like $10, $12. So I only went there a few times, but just seeing that for that one time. So I must consider that those were 3 of the inspirations, and Devout. Another dude around the corner from us cut out of his house that we used to go over there. But all of these barbers of which I'm naming, they really had cool personas, and their ambiance was presenting. And it was well received in the community, type of thing. So I just wanted to have some of that, so mostly my inspiration right there. I never really looked at it from how the business or how I could take care of my family until I actually got into it, but not to go too far into that.
Okay. So to kind of piggyback off that, so when did you know that this was going to be more than this?
So, like I said, I got my license. I finished that school. I went to Howard's Barber College right in Goose Creek. So once I finished that, I came into Walterboro, and I was cutting at a shop called Professional Barbershop. So inside of that barbershop there, that's when I just saw the relationship that I had with people, which this corresponds or resonates with. I grew up in the church, so as a young man, growing up in the church, being around the older adults, I had an affinity for them. You know what I'm saying? Just watching my family getting older. So I took it upon myself, and I was very inspirational in our older adults. Okay. So I would help them from the van to the church, from the church back to the van. And the drivers was like kind of like they was bothered by that because they was like, yo, they could get up on here by themselves and da 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 da. But I wouldn't let it go. So going back to the relationship that I developed with the people in the barbershop, it was impeccable, and I just saw that I was more than a barber. You know what I mean? The social likeness started becoming more profound than even with me cutting. Because I didn't cut everybody's head as well as I thought that I could, or even as well as they thought that I could. But I developed relationships, and I was able to bring people inside of the shop that never came in the shop before. This shop was in existence, and this was happening in all of the shops, and even up until now. You know what I'm saying? We in Walmart, and I'll stand at that door, and I'll talk to people, and eventually they'll come into this door. Yeah, son. Yeah, definitely.
So, that being said, what was your journey like stepping into entrepreneurship? So when you were like, you know what, this is what I want to do. I'm going to be a barber. I'm going to help people. What was that like, kind of making that switch from traditional work to being a barber?
It's still a transformation. Like right now, I'm contemplating going back into instructing because probably like 2008 or 9, I acquired my instructor license. So I could do OJT at my station, providing the barbershop that I'm working in allows me to do that. And if they do allow me to do that, if I accept the grounds and measures that they have me on, until I get my own. So when I acquired that OJT license, that gave me even more of, it just grew my whole relationship with the barbering career industry itself, and I was able to get into the educational side of it, to which I always considered myself a student first, but a teacher when needed. But when I got that instructor license, that really magnified my career as I'm more than a barber now, whether I'm instructing or not.
Calling for you, being a barber or a teacher?
I was always, I think, both of them. You know what I'm saying? Even before I even cut her hair, I think I was a barber already. So, I could recognize it as a calling. And I'll say religiously, but I'm a secular man. Okay. But I do establish and relate to religious principles, ideas, jargon, and verbiage type of thing. But, and again, like I said, I'm contemplating now going back into the educational side at a barber college. So it's been, this journey is still journeying. There's a quote that says, a journey of 1,000,000 miles start with one step.
I like that. That's one of my favorite quotes.
Oh man, mine's too, sir. And I got, when I was instructing, like they had to do vision boards. So one of the students, and this guy was from my neighborhood, and he had that on his vision board. And that's the first time I heard it at that time. So that was like probably like 2020. Okay. But yeah, that quote always resonated with me. So again, like just to elaborate on that question, like the journey is still going. You know what I'm saying? Like I got personal issues. I got children. I'm getting married.
Congratulations.
Word.
It's always a great experience.
I'm going through it, and so far, yeah, it's beautiful. Crystal Davis is soon to be a McFadden. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So we becoming the McFabulous McFadden. So I got engaged on June the 15th. We're getting married October the 24th. We're gonna go down there on the Savannah riverboat cruise, and we're gonna do it like that. So, like I said, this journey is still journeying, and it's a plum pleasing pleasure. It's a plum pleasing pleasure.
So some people would ask, why Walmart? What made you decide to choose this barbershop?
Well, I left the mall. I was in the mall cutting.
Okay. Northwood Mall?
Northwoods Mall. So prior to that, I was at Diamond Cuts, which I was there for 2 stints. And that was like that was a major development stage in my barbering career. It was in the hood, but there were respectable people that was coming in and out of that barbershop. Some was just organic to the barbershop, which was a barbering school for a long time. But then the neighborhoods that was around there, the Macon, the Whaling, the Hike, and so forth. And there was a lot of individuals that was coming to that shop that I highly respected. I came from the hood, so I know that it, you know, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of professionals, you know what I'm saying, that come out of these communities. And they was coming to the shop, but during that time of development, it really took me through a lot of lessons that I could have taken in a negative way. But I found a positive energy in those things, or just in the whole situation. So as I got to so my second stint with Diamond Cuts, a situation occurred that I knew I needed to leave and spread my wings a little bit further. So I went to this barbershop called Cut Bar inside of the mall first. But it's an extension of Barbers Inc., where the last barbershop that I came to from here, or came to come here. So I left there because the situation was, we had 9 barbers in there. You know what I'm saying? 9 barbers in there, and I was, even though I was at a 20-year mark, moving from place to place and, just changing directions, some gonna follow, some not. I still would gain clients. So when I called the brother Snipe, I was calling him because I was going to stay at Barbers Inc. and I was asking him like, yo, you work at the airport, so could you get me in at the airport? He was like, nah, I'm not at the airport no more. He said, but I got this opportunity right here. The barbers that I have here, which I knew from Barbers Inc. So they was telling him that they need another barber in here so they could take in the walk-ins because they, they got a heavy load. And when he presented the idea to me, I came down, I was like, yo, son, I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna check it out. The first time I come in, he wasn't here. He's like, yo, just walk in there, go ahead, boom, look around and see how you like it and this and that. I was like, all right. That same day, a client came in and he was like, yo, because he was on, he saw me, he looking at me on the cameras. We got cameras in. Okay. So he was like, he said, that person want a haircut? I like, yeah, man, they want a haircut, son. He was like, yo, just go to my station. Go ahead and cut them and just call me back. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is Walmart. Yeah, this is Walmart. And it's like 1,000 people to 2,500 people come through this door, not the other door. They come through this door right here alone. So I was like, there's no way that I'll fail or that I can't take advantage of it more so.
Okay, so do you think the change of location affected your clients in any way? Did they come with you or did you have to find new clients? What was that journey like? Gravitating to a new location?
So no, everybody did not follow me in. That's a common trend from, I moved from Walterboro to here. You know what I'm saying? Some of my first cuts was in New York. You know what I'm saying? Before I even had a license. So this trek, I understood that wherever people is, I could get them inside of the door. Even before I cut their hair, just with the person who I am, because I definitely I value relationships. So I make that my duty to build a relationship with the person. And like I say, I may see somebody multiple times before they come inside of the shop. But every time they come in, I'm not talking to them about no haircut. Come get your haircut, come get your haircut, come get your haircut 10 times on the road. No. So it's just a day. I'm just like, hey, how you doing? What's going on with you? Boom, I'm doing this right here. Or they see my attitude that I'm so jovial that they're like, hey man, why you so happy all the time, man? So a bunch of them like, what would you if they got on a hat or if they got a bald head, what you think you can do with this? Whatever you want me to do with that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I like that. Always taking the customer first.
Yes, indubitably. And now I don't have the notion that the customer is always right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I do not have that notion. But definitely the value in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? That's very significant to me.
So, what keeps you motivated to grow, refine your craft, and stay consistent?
First is, it's getting out of bed. Like before I even get to the Clippers, I gotta get out of bed. I gotta lay down. So with all that being said, I came up with some mantras that I'm gonna be positively optimistic or optimistically positive. So even from the time that it took for me to develop those things, it was just seeing the ways of life, and I just didn't want to be a depressed individual, angered, and even on the side of like now I'm learning emotional intelligence, so I don't want to be too happy, I don't want to be too sad, I don't want to be too mad, I don't want to be too anything. So finding that balance, and now in these stages right now, so I'm 45 out here, 21 years worth of barbering, and just 45 years of just experience in life. So now I came up with other mantras that represent my name. So you might say, how you doing? I said, yo, everything Robbie. My name is Robert. You know what I'm saying? And now I could switch it up. Everything Robert Rizzoli. Everything Robbie Rizzo.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Then I'll be like, yo, it's a McFabulous day. My name is McFadden. Or they might say, hey, how you feeling? I say, Jamazin, from Jermaine. You know what I'm saying? So I done developed these mantras, so even when I'm not really in that state of mind, that's what I'm gonna tell you. So now though, I've been doing this for probably about 4 years now, and now I just made it my life. Would I come in here and not make no money, or I have a little fiasco with my fiance, or I become intolerant with my sons about an issue here or there. I got 3 sons now. I got the bonus children, the 5th grader and the 9th grade, 10th grade young lady. So when things aren't always on track, I'm still able to say it's a McFabulous day.
That's great.
Everything Bobby Rizzo. Now I say, even my mom be like, she might say, what's your man, what's up? How you doing? She called me yesterday, so she knows. And I be like, yo, mama, everything Bobby Rizzo. Now if I'm slow to say that, she'd be like, oh, you say that kind of slow. Now I hit it with little more verbiage. Mama, listen, it's a McFabulous day, mama. Like, I don't know what you pick up on, but everything Bobby Rizzo, mama. You know what I mean?
I like that. So, who were your biggest influences in life, in business, or even in church?
One of my first influences, and this ain't no fluffing and bluffing. Like my mom, she asked me, what do you want to do with yourself? Like, and this was me, my sister, and my first cousin. So I told her I want to change the world. Now that influence came because of the Jesus story.
Okay.
But when she told me that I needed to get realistic goals, you know what I'm saying? But that was one of my first influences, the Jesus Christ story. You know what I mean? So from there, I've had, because I was into basketball, persons like Anthony Hardaway. That's one of my biggest. I still love him, like as a basketball player and now as a coach. And my first serious young lady, we shared the same interest in him and the Magics.
Okay.
So that shit got even more profound with that. You know what I mean? But Anthony Hardaway, and now at the level that I'm going, because sports, I realize for me, and I know what it does to people too, it's a distraction from, I say, activism. So now some of my biggest inspirations go from Jim Rohn to Francis Cress Weston that has passed, Neely Fuller Jr., Amos Wilson that has passed, Marcus Garvey we know has passed, Noble Drew Ali, Elijah Muhammad, because like my life work is going to be of organization. You know what I mean? So those are some of my biggest influences right now. And there's several clients though. There's several clients that come through this barbershop that really it, they look into me just as just as I look up to them. No. So in continuation, I'll complete that statement with saying, last but not least, my clients, like they're big inspiration to me, cause like regardless of what my day is going like, once I get to the chair and I have my first client, whether it's a newbie or somebody I've been cutting for 14 or 15 years, like once I start cutting, I'm in, yeah, son, like, yeah, it's a piece there.
Okay. So that being said, what advice would you give to young barbers or aspiring entrepreneurs?
All right, well, first to young barbers. For young barbers, I say definitely never look at this craft, this industry, this career as a hustle. To look at it from like a religious standpoint, I don't think that the so-called God want us to be no hustlers out here, and I think we only came to that because of the environment that we live in, which is of the racial fabric of white supremacy, racism. So from that, we had to hustle, and a lot of us don't have to take that path now, though it's convenient, and we look at it as being cool. But young barbers getting into this, definitely disengage and looking at barbering as a hustle, never even say it. So as entrepreneurs, I say make sure that you develop your business structure, because it's easy for entrepreneurs to go into a hustle state of mind too, and it's so well accepted. But for entrepreneurs and barbers alike, make sure that you start out with a business structure, paying your taxes, budgeting, finding, get out of debt, you know what I mean? Build up your credit, but not far as the way just so you could borrow money, but you do the credit thing because that's the system we live in, capitalism. You know what I'm saying? So build up your credit and get what you can get, but after a while you pay with cash. And do not put profits over your integrity. Yeah, son. Yeah, so take that.
Okay. So finally, final question here.
Oh, we about to be finished? I'm just getting started. That's all good, son.
We got some other stuff we got to do in here.
Yo, do your thing, son.
What does being an icon mean to you?
Locally, I know I have gotten to that level, though I need a more broader influence. And doing interviews such as this is going to help. It's going to help me become more iconic. You know what I mean? So being an icon, son, like with all the thorns that's in my flesh, I will always look to present the best. And the worst of me, in which I relate to as thorns in my flesh, I would never promote that as a good thing. My thing would be for people to listen, learn from what I'm telling them, so get the lesson, and never have to go through things like not being able to control their emotions, or practicing substance abuse, or not valuing what a woman is, or not valuing manhood, or what it is to be a father. You know what I'm saying? So I know that I went through all of those levels becoming the icon that I am now. You know what I'm saying? It's smack fabulous to hear people say, "Boy, you still look the same." Now they said that because I took care of myself as well as I did, but there was things that I would never do again, and I would never, if I could, I'd never allow my sons to do or anyone else. So the iconic value now is going to a level of activism. You know what I'm saying? It's going to the level of activism. So if I'm not holding up that type of integrity and resiliency, I wouldn't even want to be in front of a camera or even in front of you. You know what I'm saying? So definitely being an icon, especially for those who look like me, because we get a bad rap. You know, so I see Facebook shit stuff, and it's like we are. We hard on ourselves. You know what I'm saying? But because we know each other. You know what I'm saying? So I would like for those other icons, because there's a lot of icons out here locally and abroad, for them to be a little bit more sympathetic towards what got us into the situation. You know what I mean? So encroach us with a level of love, respect, and indulge into the development of us, not just being so critical. So, that's iconic right there.
This is right. See, there you go. This is specific one I used to get. It's called, put that one, hit this one, this better right. Yeah, so I told you this a while ago. I just got a DJ that was I'm going to go pistol like that. Like he was wearing their clothes and acting like you don't have time.
As you can see, we're sitting down with people who shape more than just hair. They shape stories. Let's talk to some more icons of Game 7 Barbershop. Here we are with another extraordinary barber, Adrian. Can we get a little information on you here?
I'm Adrian the Barber. I'm here at Game 7. I'm a sole proprietor. I work here, but I work for myself. I've been doing this. I've been cutting hair since I was 12 years old, but I've been doing it professionally for at least 10 years. With a license, just solely living off of being a barber. I know you said you had some questions for me, but I was going to actually kind of answer like what we talked about before the interview.
Okay, yeah, you can ad-lib. Definitely.
Basically, going off on my own was like just something scary to me because I always relied on, a check every week. And to do this and make it actually happen on my own it was just all on me. It's a scary thing. So, that's just it. Like today, I didn't feel like going to work today, but being self-employed, you don't have sick days, you don't have vacations. If you do, you got to pay for it. You have to, put money aside for it. So everything is solely on you. How you make money, how it all comes to you, and it's all has to do with how good you cut and how available you are. Because I always tell people, no matter how good of a barber you are, if you're not available, if you're not reliable, you're worth nothing. So that was something you have to hold yourself accountable to every day. It's just being reliable, being accountable to yourself, to your clients. So that was just something that I had to live up to, and it was just really a big step. It was a big thing, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just a change, like you're literally your own boss. When people say, oh, you're your own boss, like it's something to be proud of, and I guess it is, but it's a lot of responsibility involved in it. So that was a big challenge for me. It was a big sacrifice, and that's what being a barber is all about. You know what I mean? Is being an entrepreneur, being reinventing yourself every day, making yourself challenging yourself, always competing with yourself, being, making yourself better. I always tell people, don't compete with other people, compete with yourself. Just try to be better and better. So that's what I'm always trying to do every single day. And that's what being a barber is all about to me. I don't know if that answered your question or if that told you about myself.
No, definitely.
That's what I'm all about. I'm all about just giving my clients quality, and giving them that assurance that when they sit in my chair that, whatever profession, every client that I have, most of them are all professionals. Not to put you out there, Hyro. This is a professional. He's an engineer. Every client of mine, most of them are professionals, and their lifestyles, their jobs, everything about them, it all is dependent on their appearance. And being a barber, you're contributing to that. I always make jokes about this, that I always, I have clients that I would cut their hair, and before their first date, I gave them that haircut, and then that first date would turn into them, eventually getting married, right? Exactly. Then all of a sudden, I'm cutting their kids' hair, that they had with the date that they had for the first date, and all of this stuff, that in their first job, their interview, all of that, so it contributes to all their success. So, me doing this, I'm not just making money. I mean, yeah, I am, but I'm also like sharing in people's successes. I'm contributing to that, and that's what makes me do this. This is what I love about being a barber.
So that being said, how has being an entrepreneur changed your perspective on life and responsibility?
So, again, it just goes back to what I was saying about, being accountable. It definitely changed my perspective in the sense of, just being accountable to people. Being, making sure that whatever it is that I do, that it's the best. It's not half-assed. It's not, mediocre. That is how I do everything now. Being on time. Being punctual. All of those things. So like a lot of times, like when I'm at home, and whenever me and my wife have to do stuff, I'm always like not stressed, but I'm always like conscious of time at all times. So because that's how I have to be at work. So it changed my perspective in that sense. It makes me think about that in everything I do. I'm calculating everything because I'm always calculating time. I'm calculating, like I'm cutting this person's hair, but I'm also thinking about like, okay, I have to be done at a certain time. Not that I'm rushing through it, but I'm managing my time, and I'm trying to do everything as efficient as I can and use the most, like even while I'm talking, I like to talk with my hands, but I know that I can't use my hands because just that couple seconds of me just stopping and that's going to take from my time. So I'm always thinking about being efficient in everything that I do. So it just kind of just spills over into like everything else that I do. It makes me think that same way. I don't know if that answered your question, but
no, definitely. These are very great, well thought out answers. Yeah. And it makes it even better while you're cutting hair too. Now people can see. So speaking of that, what does Game 7 represent to you in name, in legacy, and in energy?
So Game 7, I was here from day one, right? Day one, that was actually almost a year ago. It was June 1st, 2024, Memorial Day weekend. I had to leave another barbershop to come here, and this was a grand opening. It was just me and the owner. It was a scary thing to do. It took a lot of confidence in myself. It took a lot of confidence in the vision that the owner had for the shop to believe that this was going to work out. So I remember I asked him the same question. I said, why'd you name the shop Game 7? He said, because Game 7 in the World Series or in the NBA Finals, that's the most important game. If the teams are tied up, it's, and I'm not even a sports person, but I understand that if the teams are tied up, Game 7 is the game. That's going to determine who's going to win, and that's when the players are going to give it all they got. So it kind of like really made me, it like really like hit me. It resonated with me because that day or the night before, when I was unpacking all my stuff, I was setting everything up here. I remember saying to myself, doubting myself for a second. I said, "What have I done?" You know, I was leaving a real comfortable place where I was at. Everything was all set up, but I'm leaving to a new place, unfamiliar territory. But then Game 7, it hit me. It was just like, I gotta play this.
Gotta lock in.
I gotta play this like this is Game 7. So every single haircut that I did, you know, I had to make a statement here. I had to let people know here, because people was walking by, they were skeptical. They was looking, they're like, "There's a barbershop in Walmart?" They're thinking, "Oh, this is just another Great Clips type shop. This is another Smart Styles, what the shop used to be called in Walmart. This is another one of them." So I had to let people know, because I'm right here in the window. So I had to really show out. I had to really show people, because it's on display. So Game 7 to me means more than just that name. That, oh, it's just a catchy name. And no, it means like, just like Game 7. What do you do in Game 7? You play with your best game, with all your heart. And that's basically what Game 7 means to me. That every haircut that we're doing with all of our heart. We're doing it to win.
So, if you could speak to your younger self before you picked up the clippers, what would you say?
Oh man, trust the process. You know, don't give up on being a barber, because that's what I did when I was younger. Like I said, I started when I was 12 years old. Back then, we was charging $10 for a haircut. It was really hard to make money as a barber, and I came up north, and there was a lot of barbers up north, a lot of good barbers around me. So it was like I didn't really stand out much. So I didn't really have the enthusiasm that I do now, and the appreciation and the love for it. Customers didn't like they do now too, you know what I mean? But it really made me realize that like this is what I was called to do. This is what I was like on to do, because the way I engage with my clients, the relationships that I have with my clients, and then this provides for me. This is I'm doing something that is like, I don't want to say easy to me, but it's something that I consider myself good at, and I'm being rewarded for it. So if I could speak to my younger self, I would tell my younger self, like, just trust this process. I know I don't want to get religious and biblical, but I know there's a scripture in the Bible that says that a man's gift makes room for him, right? So this is what I believe I'm gifted to do. I tried other things, it didn't really work out, but this did. So I would tell my younger self that whatever you're gifted at, follow that calling, keep doing it, and just be perfected.
So to expand on that, when did you know that this would become more than just a job, that it was your calling?
I would say, man, I went through so many phases with barbering. I would say, like I said, I started doing it professionally about 10 years ago. That's when I felt like it was. That's when I really took it serious. I thought I was a barber before then because I knew how to cut hair, right? But when I had to go get my license, I had to go through all the what I call rites of passage. I'm like, dang, man, they take this stuff real serious. Like, it's like a fraternity almost, When I had to go through all those things, and then I finally got my license, they made it so hard for you to get your license. And when I got it, that's when it really like made me take what I do serious. Okay?
So, what advice would you give to young barbers or aspiring entrepreneurs?
I would tell them, it's just like I was saying, to first perfect your craft. Before I see a lot of new barbers just getting out of barber school, they're buying all the clippers, they're watching all the YouTube videos, which is cool. That's how you learn. I didn't have none of that stuff growing up. I just had to just learn, right? But I would say barbering, it is a matter of skill. It is a matter of like knowing how to cut hair, but it's also a matter of taste. You got to know what looks good. You got to know what looks good on a person. just like clothes, how you coordinate your clothes and stuff. You got to know what looks good. You have to have a sense of just taste, right? So I would say, focus on those things, on trends, styles, on what looks good, you know what I'm saying? Focus on those things, develop an eye for those things, and then learn how to do those things. And then be open to changes, you know what I'm saying? That was another thing. That's why it was good me working with BJ, and y'all probably can't see him, but BJ is a younger barber. Me and him worked together for 6 years. Me being next to BJ really helped me out a lot because, again, I'm an older barber. I've been around for a long time, and I thought I knew everything. And I feel like, he would probably arguably people would say that I showed him some things, right? But BJ showed me a lot of things. And BJ showed me a lot of, like, I just not to be set in my ways, right? For instance, I'm using cordless clippers right now. I used to use corded clippers. Nobody couldn't tell me that corded clippers weren't the best, right? So BJ was like, yo, I'm telling you, you got to try this. And this is just one example. I'm telling you, there's a lot of things like this BJ showed me, him being younger. And I'm saying all this to say, don't ever let your cup get full to where you can't learn from anybody else, the younger generation, especially when you're older, because you're never going to grow anymore. You know what I'm saying? So always have room for growth. Always be a student. Don't ever feel above, learning. Always be an open vessel, open to learn from other people.
Okay.
That's how you're going to grow. Yeah.
So finally, what does being an icon mean to you?
I mean, being an icon, it's a. I was gonna make a joke and I was gonna make it about myself, like I'm the icon, but no. Being an icon is just, just being great. Obviously, being great. Being your best self. Being extraordinary. You know what I mean? That's being an icon. That's just being extraordinary. And that's what I try to do when I cut hair. Like a lot of times, I hear people say it like, people be like, yo, these people watching you cut hair out there. And it's not that I get an ego about it. It does feel good. But at the same time, that's what I want to do. I want to make people feel like, dang, man, wow, these dudes are awesome. Right. That's what I want. I want that. I want to be an icon is just being awesome, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want. That's what I want to be. Every single haircut, I want it to be iconic. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that definitely did. Thank you so much. And shouts out to, what's your name, sir? Nice. Hey, I appreciate you for sitting through this whole thing.
In the shop.
Crazy Studios.
All right, who you here with today?
My name is Zay. I'm a barber. I work here at Game 7.
Tell me about your first client ever.
My first client ever. My first client ever. So it was a ball fade. I think I did pretty good on the ball fade. I just had one side higher than the other.
Did the client like it?
The client like it? I think the client honestly did like it, but the people that was there were older gentlemen, so you know how that goes. Like when they just see something wrong, so it's like, they just tell you that's wrong, that ain't right off the rip. So it's like, yeah, but I think that's I think the client pretty did like it, but I think they were just critiquing because that was my first cut, and really my first cut was on myself, but on the client, yeah.
What does success mean to you as a barber?
Success as a barber?
Or as a business?
That's a big dang. You can't really put a tag on it because everybody else, I don't know how to explain it. It's like how you say, what does it mean to me? I really don't know yet. I haven't experienced success like that. I've experienced success, but I haven't really would say I'm like, dang, like I don't gotta cut here never again. I guess, and that's success. Like when you at the point where you don't have to cut here never again, and you know you done work that's substantial to the community, and you helped out communities and lives, and that's success right there as a barber. Substantial work to the community, not just making a lot of money.
So, what does a regular day look like for you here at Game 7?
Well, I usually have appointments in the morning. That's why I'm here early in the morning most times. If I'm not here, I ain't got no appointments. But most days I have appointments in the morning. Then I'm just catching walk-ins regularly, you know what I'm saying, wherever I can hit. Yeah.
So, how do you balance your creativity with your discipline here at work?
Creativity with discipline here at work.
Sometimes, let's say, how do you deal with clients' demands while still being able to express yourself as a barber?
You gotta have moderation. You gotta have moderation, you know what I'm saying? Especially with the art, you know what I'm saying? Because there are so many things, like that you can do with your cut. Like for instance, I can cut like him. I can cut like what's his name? I can cut like my man right here.
Adrian?
Yeah, I can cut like Adrian. I can cut like Mr. Raw. I can start cutting like BJ tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But when you staying in, like, you have to stay in what you know. Stay in what you know. If you go outside of what you know, then it's gonna be like I don't know how to explain it. Like people can, you have to have this derived style that you like go. You have to have go-tos. Like if you don't have a go-to way to cut anything or way to fade it up or way to, you gotta be adaptable, but in yourself in a way, because like you might can pull it off, but it might not look the same. So you have to work the way that you can pull it off. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
With the haircut or with the style, you know.
So, were there any sacrifices you had to make to get to this point?
Yeah, a lot of time. Time is the biggest sacrifice in anything. Like, yeah, because there's a lot of things that you can do, that you could be doing every day, and time is like, where it's at. Time.
What is one thing that people, when they come in to be a barber, how they feel? Like, let's say, what's a misconception that people have when they were like, I want to be a barber and pick up the colors?
That you have to. The biggest misconception I would say is not that it's easy. It's the fact that like I feel like that it's the power of being the barber. That's the misconception. It's the power of being the barber.
You care to explain on that a little bit?
So the power of being the barber is like you controlling a lot in the world, but the misconception of being the barber is like, because a lot of people have power to control people's future, health, all that, just based off the look of the haircut, because like, you can really ruin somebody with this look.
Bad haircut, they have a bad week, get fired, all that type of stuff.
You never know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you can really mess up something. So, but yeah, I think the power of the barber, like being the barber, and the power of what you hold, that's like the misconception.
What word of advice would you give to young barbers or aspiring entrepreneurs?
What's it called? Don't like, even when like it's the last, like it's like the last hour of the day, or it's a slow time, you don't leave. Like you're the only one that's not supposed to leave. If you're the youngest, if you're trying to get it, you gotta stay wherever you at, and wherever you gotta stay there the longest. You need to be there. You need to be like Kobe Bryant, Mamba mentality when you first coming out. No days in, no days off. No days off.
Okay. And finally,
What does being an icon mean to you? What does being an icon mean to you?
So that's all. I feel like that's all part of the barber mentality. Like if you're if you're a barber, like even Mr. Rob said this about like when you come in and you have to present yourself in a certain way because your clientele might be looking up to that. Like they might be coming in to get the look. They might go to you because they look fit your look, you know. So they might be looking at you and like, dang, I might need to get like Rob and get that watch. Or I might need to get like Rob and get me another blue collar shirt because I stained my shirt last week. So it's just different things like that, you know.
Do you have anything you want to add before we close off the interview?
Huh?
You got anything you want to add before we close off the interview?
Yeah, man. Just don't forget the reason that you started. Don't forget the reason that you started. That's it right there.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Put that one. Get this one. This is better.
Game 7 Barbershop is more than just clippers and scissors. It's a tight-knit community, a family bound by code, honor, and ethics. The next time you are in Somerville on North Main Street, come by the Walmart and check out Game 7. I'm your host, Izzy Whitmore. This has been another episode of HD Crazy Icons. Thank you. We'll see you next week.